on behalf of the Department of Cannabis Regulation for the City of LA, welcome to Grow 2022 Cannabis Career Fair. As Tony said, my name is Dr. Brown, and I serve as the Director of the Social Equity Program. Now, Grow 2022 has had two parts: the virtual fair, the virtual webinar, which was yesterday, and the live event, which takes place right here on the campus of Trade Tech College from 10 to 2. And we're hoping more people come in as the moments wear on. Now, yesterday's live webinar focused on job interviews and resume writing, strategies and techniques for job seekers interested in a career in the cannabis industry. Today's live event brings cannabis employers and job seekers face-to-face for live interviews, job seeking coaching and employer training, and that employer training includes good faith hiring requirements. Now, Grow 2022 is a resource that's born out of the Social Equity Business Licensing and Compliance Program. Now, although there is a lot more work to be done, I am very proud of the department's progress in its mission to promote equitable ownership and employment opportunities in the licensed cannabis space. In addition to issuing 250 licenses total, of that, 350 licenses have been issued to social equity applicants, the most of any jurisdiction in the country. We have designed business and workforce development programs to lower barriers to entering the legal cannabis market, including making delivery, cultivation, and retail exclusive to the social equity applicants until January 2025. That's big time, folks. We've provided over 200 social equity applicants with $6 million in direct financial assistance through our SEED grant program, giving over 1,600 social equity applicants access to more than 100 hours of technical assistance through our business licensing and compliance program, while offering over 300 social equity applicants access to pro bono legal services. We are committed to providing resources and training to equity entrepreneurs and the cannabis workforce community. Now, I'd like to just take a moment to thank DCR's social equity team, Allison Toll, Ethan Spalding, Catherine Smith-Ball, and Luis Ramirez. Woohoo! My team works diligently to provide the programming and resources that benefit our equity partners. Thank you, Connie Sparks and her team at Waco Business Center, as well as Dale Sky Jones and her team at Oaksterdam University, who are the principal vendors responsible for the Grow 2022 Career Fair. I also want to mention the support of our other DCR Equity Program vendors who have contributed to the success of this career fair. And last but not least, I'd like to acknowledge Rafael Salazar and his team at Trade Tech College, Power 106 Radio, Channel 35, and our sponsors for their support of this event. And finally, I wish all participants success with your business and career goals in the licensed cannabis industry. And with that, I'll turn the mic back over to Tony Forge, who will be your moderator for today. Enjoy Grow 2022. Thank you.
So I should introduce myself. My name is Tony Forge. I'm a cannabis attorney and consultant and owner of Four Leaf Consulting. The next person I'm going to introduce is a very special person, and we met in a very unusual way. Do you recall the first time we met? We were negotiating a social equity contract. I was representing a social equity operator, and Tamika was working for a pretty large company. And I was so impressed by her because she really was empathetic to the needs of the social equity operator. She was transparent, and she wanted really to make the deal work. And sometimes when you're working with a large multi-state operator, that can be very, very difficult. And I really just love that she embraces the whole notion of social equity. She is a social equity licensee, as well as she is the founder of BICO, And Tamika's story is wonderful because unfortunately she found cannabis because not only was she an advocate, but she was a patient. And so she knew the power of the plant. But she wanted to normalize cannabis, especially for people of color and women of color. And Tamika also wanted a very elevated brand, and that's how Biko came to be. So for more of her story, I'd like to introduce you to the incomparable Tamika Drew.
Sure.
Before Tamika gets started, I'd really like to invite all of the operators who are standing around to come, and I don't want you to miss her speech. So please feel free to come and join us underneath the tent. I don't know if anybody's listening, but I invite you to all come and listen to Tamika Drew. So thank you very much. Thank you, Tamika.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Brown, and thank you, Tony. And thank you all so much for being here today and learning a little bit about cannabis careers. And I'm really excited to share with you my journey in unlocking the unlimited potential of a career in cannabis, because you're looking at someone who went from in the medical industry, started out as a bud tender, to now being the chief growth officer of a major California retailer. And I think that anyone can do that. We're at such an amazing moment in the cannabis industry where we are building it as we speak. And so every single person that is a part of the industry is really going to decide what this industry looks like moving forward, which is why it's so important that everyone that is here today, all of these beautiful black and brown and diverse faces, really infuse this industry with their talents and their knowledge and their passion, because that's really going to be the way we see an industry that we want to see as we move forward. So for me, there are three main reasons why legacy operators like myself and like so many of you, so many of the people that I've talked to today, should be a part of the industry. The first of those reasons is that every single time somebody becomes a part of the industry, takes on a cannabis job, and is willing to share that information with someone who is not a part of the industry, we are working to normalize the plant. And that is so important for people not only like myself who rely on the plant to literally survive, because cannabis saved my life, which is why I am so incredibly passionate about the plant. But also for just everyone whose lives are made better by this plant that we now have a legal right to consume. And that people all over the country have a right to be able to benefit from, because so many of our people have been enslaved and put into jail and you know, had states and municipalities profit off of us in that way. Now it's time for our communities to profit off of our creative energy and our passion and our enjoyment of the plant. And that's how we do that, through building companies and participating in the industry. The second way that people like us, the reason that people like us need to be a part of this industry is so that we can create stable systems for industry growth. And you know, we know more than anyone, those of us who have been doing it for many years, we know how to think about solving some of these problems that nobody knows how to solve yet, right? All the regulations are new and they're changing all the time. So it takes those of us who have some of these experiences from way back in the day, from when cannabis was first made medically legal through Prop 215, all the way up until now, to say, hey, I kind of remember how we thought about that in 2000 when we were thinking about that medical product. Maybe that's a product that we could make compliantly now that could really be something that could help consumers. And then the third reason that people like us need to be involved in the industry is because we are the ones who are really going to be pushing for and demanding for community support and community reinvestment. And that's not just in our own companies that we build, like Biko, my brand, or like my licenses. I have a manufacturing license and a retail license that I'll be operationalizing soon. but also from the inside when we take positions as bud tenders and inventory specialists and marketing managers, and we take positions as executives within small companies and large MSOs, and we're there using our voices and using our passion and using our experiences to push the industry and to push these corporations into the direction we need them to go. That's our responsibility, and it's our unique power. And so I look forward to helping all of us figure out our space within the industry, and I think that changes as we grow. For me, I think my first kind of real experience in the industry was being on the floor, kind of crying, hoping that I could find better access to cannabis. I was a medical cannabis patient who had come up through college. I had disability accommodations all through college, and I went into law school and learned very quickly there's no such thing as disability accommodations in college. So I had to medically withdraw from law school, or at least from law school, and I began working for a medical dispensary. And it was the first medical dispensary that was open in West Hollywood. It was called Compassionate Caregivers, the Yellow House back in the day for those of us who were here in the early 2000s. And when I first started going there, not very many people knew about them. I kind of started talking to the folks that worked there, and they learned very quickly about my particular situation of life, which was that I was internally bleeding and pretty much slowly dying. And so I really needed to find a way to turn that around, and they said, come work for us so we can start gifting you the type of cannabis and the amount of cannabis that you need to get healthy. And so I did that. And I started out, like I said, as a bud tender. I learned how to do the cash handling, learned how to do some inventory management, and I learned very quickly that my talents were going to be better spent helping them build a doctor-patient referral service. And we called that referral service Green Medicine Group, and we recruited doctors, and we taught them about how to give compliant recommendations to patients. And then we placed the first ads in the LA Weekly and the City Beat and the independent newspapers to have patients call us so that we could let them know where they could go find their doctors, and then we could let them know where they could get their medicine. And overnight, once we started that program and really started driving business, we were able to kind of really explode that patient access. And the Yellow House became very popular. A lot of people knew about it. And that was kind of me learning a ton about the industry at a very early phase that wasn't quite ready for a black woman to be there managing, doing that kind of stuff. And so I got out and I started doing a lot of work in the nonprofit industry, but I was still a patient. And me and my partner at the time and one of our friends, we spun up a patient collective where we began serving patients. And one of the cities in the desert actually gave us a license to begin delivering our medicine through our collective to patients in their city compliantly. And so we did that for quite some time. So that was our legacy business that we owned. And because of that business, we were able to be eligible for a phase 2 social equity license through the Los Angeles licensing program. So that's how I got my manufacturing license and how I was able to produce my brand Bico. And so through Green Coyote Collective, it wasn't just delivery operations that we were learning, but we were also, creating those products. So we were doing product development, compliance, we were having inventory management, people management. We were also dealing with distribution operations. So all of that experience really enabled us to be able to build a great and efficient cannabis operations once adult use came around. So I'll move now from my medical experience into my adult use experience, because that's what we're all talking about now, right? Now it's legal. Everybody can spin up a license or a brand. And I started out doing freelance licensing work. And so many people wonder if it makes sense to start doing consulting work. And I always say yes, it definitely makes sense to dip your toe in if you have experience and you have skills and you know that there are people that could utilize those skills. Start doing some consulting. So I started doing some consulting, I started doing some licensing work, and through that, I was hired to be the director of compliance for a cannabis brand called Field Extracts. So I learned a ton about licensing and compliance, and I was able to then move into a business development position with Forefront Ventures, where I was actually brought into that company to build their social equity licensing program. And my argument at that time to them when I was arguing for a job was that we shouldn't be building social equity licensing programs within corporations without having social equity licensees and social equity qualified individuals at that table helping build those programs, right? And we have to have people that understand the real challenges of having a social equity license, but not only that, who understand what it is to be a social equity licensee, who understand what it is to come from generational poverty and have a passion to build an amazing business and what that might require in terms of support. And so I was able to convince Forefront to hire me to do that. And then after I was done at Forefront, I joined the team at Ease, doing licensing and compliance for them. And really what I decided I truly wanted to do was I wanted to help drive a company whose whole vision and values had social equity at the center. So not just kind of creating a social equity program to the side here where we help empower some social equity licensees, but can we actually have a corporation where as we move, we always have social equity at the center of how we move, and we always are thinking about community support and community investment, and not being able to create programs and set up retail locations or products without making those considerations. And I found a company that was willing to do that with me helping drive that growth, and that is NUG Inc. out of Northern California. And I am their Chief Growth Officer. I just accepted the position recently. And thank you. And we'll be working on them to operationalize my retail storefront in Los Angeles as well. And I think that as a licensee, we really also have to challenge companies that we want to be a part of to say, hey, I'm a social equity licensee, I'm a brand owner, and I can offer you so much value inside of your corporation as well that I don't have to choose one or the other. So we need to challenge the limitations that the industry might try to put on us and the limitations we might even try to put on ourselves, and really figure out what we can do and how we can make things work together to really make sure everybody wins, because this industry is very much about collaboration and working together and the power of community, and that's really the only way we're going to be able to kind of build it forward. So as you're thinking about licensing, and I know that there are so many social equity qualified folks here who are thinking about the next licensing processes and some of the new social equity licenses that are available, like the cultivation processing license, the nursery license, which are incredibly exciting. Thinking about those licenses as assets and not necessarily as the only thing that you might do. It could be your baby and the only thing that you do, but it's not the only way you have to think about it. And also thinking about the fact that you can be a part of this cannabis industry and own a brand like Queen Mary over there and not hold a license, right? You can run a very successful business without owning a license, because we have so many amazing social equity licensees here in the city that you can partner with and collaborate with to make sure that your brand has everything that it needs. So really being able to learn how we can work together as a community, not only as we're hiring, but as we're building our businesses, is incredibly important as well. And then the last thing that I think has been incredibly important for my growth in the industry have been the community organizations and the community support. The folks, way too many to name here, today, who have been on the ground supporting folks like me and really understanding what it takes to build community, and taking into account that social equity status is tied to systemic racism, and we need to understand that generational trauma is something, and that kind of trauma in our communities is something that has to be addressed every time we're spinning up licenses, or every time a large corporate actor is coming into our community saying, we support equity, we support community. Some of those groups are the Social Equity Owners and Workers Association, of which I'm a proud dues-paying member, and of which, if they were not involved on the ground as the voice of the people kind of pushing programs forward, I would not have a license right now when the licensing was extended to be 200 licenses. We also have the Cannabis Equity Retailers Association, or SARA, of which you'll hear a little bit more on the panel after, who have supported the Phase 3 Round 1 licensees and business owners and continue to kind of collaborate and make sure that we're bringing each other together and supporting each other through the process, sharing resources, sharing service providers. And then we have Social Equity LA, which was created as a resource for all social equity qualified individuals to help share licensing support around business ownership and hiring. So it's not only important to make sure that we're thinking about how we're maneuvering our licenses and our businesses, but also important when we're thinking about how we can support the community groups like the LBCA as well, who are really focused on making sure that we succeed as business owners and as licensees. I am very much here as a resource for everyone. I look forward to connecting with you. You can add me on LinkedIn. You can follow me on Instagram at Tamika Drew. Don't feel shy to reach out if you have any questions about licensing or compliance or just cannabis business in general. I'm always really happy to build and work with the community in any way that I can, because I know and believe that we are stronger together. At BICO, our tagline is "Light the spark that leads the way," and we very much feel like the City of LA has been doing that with their social equity licensing program. I must say that as a social equity licensee, being able to apply for a license in Los Angeles is not a difficult process. So anyone that's kind of wondering about what that process might be like, I say, go ahead and jump in. The water is warm. DCR is there to help you through that process, and they're there if you make a mistake to kind of help you figure out how to fix that mistake through the process. So I really very much want to lift up the DCR licensing program as well as something that is actually very supportive of social equity licensees. And like I said, myself as kind of an outside resource to help anyone who has any questions. And I just really want to thank you all so much for coming. It's been an honor to be on this stage and share space with you today. Thank you.
Can you take questions? Sure. So this will be a great time if anyone has any questions for Tamika. One thing I want to ask you, Tamika, how's the transition been for you from being a seasoned cannabis executive, because I've worked with you in that capacity, and then switching over to the operator side? So can you talk a little bit about that? Can we turn this mic on, please? Sure. Thank you.
Well, I'll say that, you know, it's very interesting because I've been a cannabis operator for quite some time, but what you learn inside of corporate cannabis is definitely interesting. It's been really eye-opening for me to kind of learn about the way corporations and MSOs think about social equity and licensing and how they think about brands. And then being a brand owner to really understand kind of the difficulty in maneuvering the supply chain and really the importance of partners. I want to be very clear about my brand BICO. I would not be able to have BICO without the support of my partners at Telos Cannabis Group, who were not only my partners on my license, but are also my distribution partners. And they really ensure, as fantastic partners, that I have everything that I need, all of the supply to create my product and all of that kind of operational support. Whereas, you know, a lot of brands starting out, they don't have that. And so it definitely was a learning experience as a small operator, kind of learning about the reality of not having that support and what it might look like versus having, you know, the partners that I have, and I'm incredibly blessed and thankful to have them, but understanding if I didn't have my operational partners, the difficulty that it would be for me to be able to continue to succeed as a brand.
So we always hear about predatory practices, and if you can give our audience some advice, if you could give one nugget with how to prevent a predatory practice, what would it be?
Oh, so many. This is a whole workshop.
It is
Tony,
a workshop.
And I'm happy to give the workshop as well. But one thing I would say is incredibly important is make sure you're reading that fine print about who controls your entity that holds your license, right? And so if you're bringing in partners, there are a couple different kinds of partnerships. Sometimes you'll have a partnership where you control the license and you're the only one that owns the license, and then your partners come in and they manage the license. And in that scenario, you typically maintain all the control. So at least if you don't like what your partners are doing, you can kick them out. You can say, I don't want you managing me anymore. I'm going to have somebody else come in and manage me. But if you're perhaps taking money and you're giving equity from your license to that partner, they might say, okay, we want to update this operating agreement, or we want to update the way the business actually works. And in that, you want to make sure you understand that update so that they can't somehow make it so that you no longer have any control of your business and you can't possibly remove them, or you can't possibly make decisions like who the business might be sold to or how much the business might be sold for down the line.
Okay, great question and a great answer. And that is a whole separate category. Anyone have any questions of Tamika? Okay, gentleman in the back.
Yeah, that's a really good question. I think when you want to think about who to approach for partners, you want to think about a couple of things. Obviously, you're thinking about price, but you also really want to think about quality. You want to think about your values. We have a lot of really fantastic Black-owned operators. We have one right here with Chauncey in the front row with Go Verde Incubator, one of our wonderful Black women cultivators here. You know, it's really about trying to do a little bit of research, find out who might have what you need, and then just having the meetings and going and checking out the facilities yourself, seeing how they do business. You know, ourselves at Bico, I really like a production process where there are people who are actually handling the flower to make sure that if there's really long stems on this one, they're breaking that off, they're making sure it's nice and beautiful to ensure that we have that high quality for our flower. Some folks, they want to see that production efficiency coming out of those robots that are packing it in with the machines. And so, you know, going and touring facilities and seeing how people do things, talking to the management and seeing the types of people who are actually going to be touching and inventory controlling your products is incredibly important. So many of those folks I think are here today that you could chat with for sure.
Absolutely. And one thing I would definitely recommend is vetting your partners. I am so amazed that people don't even Google to see who they're doing business with. I mean, I would Google somebody if I'm dating them. So imagine if you are getting into business with them and you know absolutely nothing about them. So I think it's very important for you to vet your partner, see what they're about. You have to share the same vision. You have to want the same types of things. And if you don't, then it's not going to last. It really isn't.
Yeah, get some references too. Find out some brands that they've worked with, and then talk to those brands, because they're going to be able to give you the real, you know, the real deal information about what it is to work with that partner and that vendor.
Absolutely. The woman in the, you, yes.
Hi, this is on. Can you hear me? In terms of social equity in creating revenue, getting a location is the first step into being able to start the licensing process. Did you create that revenue yourself? And then setting up percentages within your company, if you're talking about like predatorial, you know, once you set those numbers, is there any way that they can kind of take that from you?
Yeah, so this is a really good question. I'm like, I feel like we should just have a little licensing workshop here talking about some of these deal terms. For one, you know, when you're coming in with partners who want to be equity holding partners, don't allow them to set a valuation of your business up front before the business has even started yet. You know, there are different types of these operational partners too. So, you know, a partner that's coming in and they're just maybe infusing you with money, but they don't have any operational acumen. That's a very specific type of partner. Whereas, you know, if there's a partner that's coming in and they have this operational acumen, they should be able to show you what kind of revenue they expect you that you should be making, right? So, you know, if you're working with an MSO and they're coming to you and saying, hey, partner with us, we want 49% of your business. If they're saying your business is worth $1 million, you know, for me, I'm saying, for one, it sounds like you're not running the business very well in this hypothetical situation then, right? Like, they should be able to show you 3 to 5 years of what they are seeing, that their revenue that they would be generating, and then what the profit sharing on that would look like over time. They should be coming to you with these models. Now, if it's just money that's coming in, oftentimes what you would prefer to do with that is make that into debt, make that into a convertible note that says, okay, maybe you're going to give me $250,000, and then if I don't pay you this $250,000 back by this amount of time, then you get this percentage of equity in the business. And that's not necessarily, that doesn't necessarily create a valuation. It's just, you know, in that structure, you would want your valuation to be somewhere around the assumption of $3 to $5 million before you've started, right? I think that's kind of what people have said the number is for a dispensary in Los Angeles. What we're hearing on the social equity side of things, and I think most people who are social equity licensees in here have heard this, so it's not news to any of us, is that, you know, before revenue, $1 million is the valuation for a social equity license. You know, to me, it doesn't make sense to put a value on a license that hasn't been spun up and hasn't started making money yet. Anybody trying to do that is probably trying to undervalue what they think your license actually can do. So if they're saying, we think you can do $2 million, they probably think you can do 10, right? So make sure that whatever deal they're trying to make doesn't make it so that, you know, the undervaluation cuts you out, but doesn't cut them out of profits down the line. It's so interesting how some of these structures work. You'd be surprised, you know, if there's a loan, depending on the percentage of the loan, you're paying the loan back first. How long is it going to take to pay the loan back? The licensee themselves might not end up seeing any cash from that deal for 3, 5, 10 years down the line, depending on how the structure of those distributions is set up. MSO, multi-state operator. So an MSO is any retailer that is telling you, we don't just operate in California, but we also operate in these other places. And I'll say, if you are trying to do a deal with an MSO and you are an LA licensee, and let's say you have a brand, bring that brand into your deal, baby. See if you can make sure that your brand gets some lifts. If your MSO partner is in other states, can your brand also be in other states? Can your MSO partner help make that happen? A win for the MSO partner that gets a retail license in partnering with you and helping build your brand, it's a win for everybody. So, you know, make sure that you're thinking creatively about these deals as well, because sometimes, you know, different organizations, no matter how much money it might seem a retailer has or a multi-state operator has, chances are they don't actually have that much money in the bank that they can just spend on new opportunities. Everything is very much, you know, in a certain bucket. So the more creative you can be about how you can add value in your deal, I think the better deal you can end up with.
That's great. Good advice. Great advice. Any other questions? Oh, our winner of the Amazon gift card.
Thank you. You know, as an employee, this information is interesting and is valuable to owners. So I'm not looking into ownership, but going into a company, how can I acquire this information, stay up to date on it, so that I could be more useful on the back end to a company that would hire me?
I really love that question, and that's kind of what the community groups and some of these groups on the ground really help keep everybody plugged in and you know, collaborating together. Another thing I would really challenge everybody working kind of inside of cannabis companies, challenge your, you know, your management and the folks that you work for to kind of be involved in some of these communications. Like, if you ever want to learn about different touch points within your own job, like, you know, ask if they can create shadowing programs or mentorship programs where you might get to learn about different aspects of your own company and how different things function. That's kind of been a big thing for me, of kind of being able to come in and learn different aspects of the industry to figure out where I best fit. So I think that's something that is, you know, you can kind of do from from the inside. Continue to kind of push the envelope of, how we can make sure we're serving everybody who's working here who might have additional aspirations, as well as taking care of kind of everybody that's just working and is happy where they're at.
Anyone else? Thank you so much, Tamika.
Thank
You
you.
were fabulous. Thank you again. Thank you again. And now it's raffle time. Oh, giveaway time. I know. Bad me. Bad me. And the glasses, come on. Okay. This is so needed because groceries are high, okay? So we have some Ralph's gift certificates. Groceries are high. And this is ticket number 8160,469. Ooh, come get your Ralph's. You do. You do. There you go, love. Yes, thank you so much. Okay, we have another one. Albertsons, Vons, Pavilions, giveaway. Ticket number 8160,462. 8160,462. Come and get it. And we're going to give away one more. Again, a grocery gift certificate. The number is 816-0461. Again, 816-0461. Anyone? All right, oh. Who we got? Okay, we're going to take a short break and get our panel up here, and we're going to have an in-depth conversation about jobs. We have two HR professionals, one from Sweet Flower, the other one from Josephine and Billy and Ball Family Farms, social equity businesses here in Los Angeles. We're going to talk to Johnny Sage from Sarah. We're going to have Miss Kindness. We're going to have Dejanay Evans. So we're going to have a great, great panel, as well as Wally Wong. So give us a couple of moments and we'll get the panel here. Okay. Let me grab Wally. Huh? Hello. We're going to start with the panel. So can everyone come and take a seat? We're going to start with the panel now. Giovanni can talk about his stuff. We just finished. Giovanni, you need to be talking about your stuff too. Oh, look at you. We're going to put both of you guys in there. Giovanni, come get it. Come get it. So we're doing a little impromptu because we have someone special. Giovanni Redway is going to talk about his journey a little bit. So I am going to have the beautiful lady to my left introduce herself. We're going to go all the way across, and then we'll hit back here.
Thank you, Tony. Hi, everyone. My name is Dejanay Evans. I am the founder of Green Goddess Glow, which is an endocannabinoid health and wellness platform that emphasizes cannabis as a wellness tool. After working in the industry, trying different products, both in and out of dispensaries, talking to patients, I really wanted to create a platform that allowed us to look at cannabis more holistically. So what does it mean to have conversations not only about how cannabis enhances and stimulates our endocannabinoid system when we're running, but also in massage and chiropractic treatments. And really emphasize the system as a whole as something that we can learn about and understand. A lot of people, when they hear about cannabis, are like, I don't want to smoke. And I'm like, great, you don't have to, but this is one of the largest neurotransmitter systems in your body, and you should know about it. So I just jumped into a
That's
whole
okay, we're going to
speech.
come back. Just
Okay,
introduce,
great.
and then we'll come back.
Sorry, guys, I was really excited there.
Miss Guy.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Ms. Kindness Ramirez, and I am a master educator, a children's book author, and the CEO of Our Kind, a new line of infused hair and body products for people of the global majority.
Oh, come on, global majority.
I'm going to use that global majority. Okay. I'm going to use that. Go ahead, Carlos, global majority member.
Hey, there you go. Hi, everyone. My name is Carlos Viramontes. I am the Senior HR Director for Sweet Flower. Our booth is right here to the left. We have been here hiring people today. I'm happy to say we've hired 6 people so far. So.
6 people. Sweet Flower, 6 people. We love it.
Hi, good afternoon. My name is Candace Graff, and I'm the Human Resources Manager for Ball Family Farms and Josephine and Billy's.
Hi, I'm Wally. I lead the Meadow SoCal team. I'm the head of education and social equity programming as well, and I'm also the founder of the working group National Social Equity Coalition, which Tony is a part of, as well as Tamika. So happy to be here in support of LADCR.
Hi, everyone. I'm Johnny Sage, part of the team over at Cannabis Equity Retailer Association, Sarah in short, and we make up the community of equity retailers that are currently operational and getting operational within the city of Los Angeles.
This thing on?
Yeah.
Let's give it up for Tony Forge. She's doing such a fantastic job today.
Thank you,
I'm watching on the sidelines, just overjoyed, just watching her do her thing. My name's Jumani Redway. I am currently in cannabis cultivation with Steezy. Give it up for Steezy, right over there. Shout out. I also am a social equity partner with Steezy. Big things on the horizon for 2022. Stay in touch. I also invite you to check out my smartphone app, myblackhistorycalendar.com. Go to your phone right now, myblackhistorycalendar.com. Check it out. Download it to your phone. Have a wonderful day, ladies and gentlemen.
I love it. So, Dejanay, let's go back to you.
Oh, yeah, I'm
And,
gonna
and let's
reintroduce
talk
myself.
about your journey and Goddess Glow.
Yeah, sure. So I'll do my intro again. My name is my name is Dejanay Evans, and I'm the founder of Green Goddess Glow, an endocannabinoid health and wellness platform, cannabis wellness platform. I'm also the brand manager for Viola, which is the largest Black-owned multi-state operator in the U.S. and Canada. And right now we have our booth with Harrington Institute here, and that's booth 22, if I'm not mistaken. And that is our educational vertical, which allows people to gain all the resources that they need to not only have access to the industry, but be able to maximize their opportunities within the industry. So my experience growing Green Goddess Glow. So I started in this industry as a bud tender, as many people that are coming from the legacy market have. And I got verified as a social equity applicant, tier 1, tier 2, in 2018. So as you can imagine, that's been 4 years. And one of the biggest hurdles that I've had to get over is finding location, finding the right partners, and really crystallizing this vision of what I feel like cannabis offers our community. And I wanted to allow people to see cannabis as a wellness tool, but also understand that the endocannabinoid system exists within your body. So how can this help to change the human condition, not just as a wellness tool, but as a technology? It's going to impact every other major industry that we know. So that's agriculture, that's tech, that's art and entertainment. That it's so broad, but I really wanted to make sure that people had the science and the information that they needed to understand it from a standpoint that wasn't just about sustaining the culture that exists around us, but making our bodies more inhabitable, which we don't talk about very much. We live in a stress-induced society, and that is why we are endocannabinoid deficient. And most people don't even know that. Most people don't know that they're vitamin D deficient. And so how can we start to really work with the endocannabinoid system so that when we're out in the world and we're trying to make our dreams happen, we're not suffering from burnout? And Miss Kindness has been such an amazing mentor in that capacity. We both work in health and wellness, and my journey has led me to sound healing, which is why I play instruments that are honestly almost too heavy to carry most of the time, but they're so powerful. So that's the gong, that's the harp, that's these healing tools and instruments that we don't even see in our communities quite often. And so this platform really allows space for that. It allows for us to tap in and ground and understand that cannabis can really change the way that we navigate the world, first starting with healing and repairing our own health.
Great.
So, yeah.
Miss Kindness.
So quickly again, that really is my name, Ms. Kindness, I swear, from birth. So now you all know, because some of you will ask me, is that really your name? Yes. I am a master educator. I actually am a former high school teacher and an author, and I mentioned the CEO of an infused hair care and body product line. I, in 2012, was teaching high school, and I was 26 weeks pregnant, and I slipped and fell on a puddle in a grocery store. And it damaged my pelvis so severely that the only option doctors gave me for pain relief were opioids. But I was 26 weeks pregnant, and I thought they were trying to kill my black baby. So I did some research. I Googled, and I said, what are natural remedies for chronic pain? And Siri said, weed, bitch. And I couldn't believe it, because I hadn't really experienced cannabis in the way that I do now. It was recreational at the time. Now you will never hear me address it that way. But at the time, that's what it was. And so I went further down the rabbit hole as an academic and a researcher, and I began to experiment with new moon to full moon tinctures, and I healed my own body. But in that process of healing my own body, I also tested positive as a pregnant mother. So I then had to interface with social services through healthcare, and I had to advocate for myself. And in doing that, it meant that I had to find good attorneys and people that I could ask questions of to help me navigate this system and protect myself and my family while also using the plant to heal. So fast forward, I started an organization called Club Kindness, and I began doing direct-to-consumer education to help other mothers who were very much like myself, who didn't know where to begin, who hadn't used cannabis intentionally before, but wanted to begin using it as a part of their wellness routine. And then I thought, well, what is it that I do well? I teach. It's what I already know how to do. At this time, I wasn't in the classroom. And so I started just offering myself for platforms to talk about Cannabis 101, here's how it works in the body. A lot of what Dejanay offers with Green Goddess Glow, the education on the endocannabinoid system and applications of products. And Miss Tony called me and said, hey, will you come and do a panel at LA Southwest College? Remember that?
I do.
And they offered me a job. So now I teach at LA Southwest College and advocate for cannabis entrepreneurship within that community. And I wrote a children's book about a family that looks a little bit like my own, that grows cannabis in their backyard next to their tomatoes and their marigold and their lavender. And they go through the process of growing, cultivating, harvesting, and storing in a safe, locked cabinet before infusing it into oils that mom makes. And that mom just launched a new line of products called Our Kind. For me, when I left teaching in the classroom, it was really important for me to create brands, products, and anything I brought to the cannabis space that were mindful enterprises. So a large part of Our Kind is education. It is taking it back to the roots. How do we practice radical self-care, maybe even unintentional, in that you already use hairsprays and hair oils and body products? And so why not know that you are applying products that are organic, healthy, and also could be healing for you? So that's what Our Kind is all about. We accompany that with always an educational piece, because I believe cannabis is going to be health equity for our communities. And we offer our customers an opportunity to round up their purchases. We match those sales, and we contribute to organizations that support the children and women who were impacted by racially biased policies. Because I'm not calling it a war on drugs. It is all about racially biased policies. And that's across all fields, all areas. And so that's a little bit about me. I try to live up to my name, Ms. Kindness, because that really is my name, y'all. I'm happy to be here. I'm really happy that the DCR is doing this type of work. I'm appreciative.
I've seen the driver's license. She is very correct, and I know her daddy.
She knows my daddy.
Carlos?
Hi, everyone. I'm Carlos Viramontes again with Sweet Flower. I started working in cannabis a couple of years ago, and it was due to the pandemic. I worked for a museum. They shut us down. We laid everyone off, and I had to make a decision as to what's essential versus non-essential. So I took the jump into cannabis and found that it wasn't as scary as people make it sound. There's a lot of assumptions and stigma around it. Even today, I tell people where I work, and I get that look of like, oh, you sell weed? And it's like, well, yeah, it's a legal business, just like so many other things. So I've been working a lot with my team at Sweet Flower to make sure that as we recruit new people, we are presenting ourselves as a retailer who happens to sell cannabis, and making it okay for people to bring those transferable skills into the workplace, and know that if you work at a Neiman Marcus and sell perfumes, obviously you don't have all of those perfumes at home. But if you come in and work with us, we will teach you what all of our different products that we carry are, how they work. We will educate you and allow you to become that educator for our customer that comes in, and they will start to come look for you specifically. So that is really what we're looking for as a company, is really bringing in people who want to learn and teach and really be part of the process, so that we can help remove a lot of that stigma that goes with the industry that I'm working in now. And so we have 5 stores open today throughout the city of LA, from Arts to Studio City, Westwood, Melrose, and Culver City, which just opened in January. And in April, right before 420, we'll be opening our Pasadena location on Colorado Boulevard. So thank you.
Hi, I'm Candace Graff. I'm the HR manager for Ball Family Farms and Josephine and Billy's. So I have been doing HR for about 12 years now. And My experience with cannabis started in 2018, and it actually did not start with HR. It started with the licensing piece and actually getting all of the paperwork together. That allowed me an opportunity to really have an understanding of the regulations and what it really takes to even just get a license to operate a business. So that allowed me to kind of build up on my skills. And once Ball Family Farms opened their doors, I came in and started their human resources department. We built it from the ground up, which is our company motto. And I assist now with our employee training and develop onboardings, ensuring that we have succession planning in place, as right now we are a small business, but our plan is to grow. Same with Josephine and Billy's. Well, actually, I'm sorry, let me backtrack a little bit. Ball Family Farms is a cultivation facility. And so we're dealing a lot with individuals who come in and are looking to really learn and grow within the cultivation piece of it. These are individuals who really have an understanding and a knowledge base of the plants, how they function, how they grow, what makes it better, etc. And with Josephine and Billy's, that's the retail dispensary. So it's a completely different beast from cultivation. So it's really learning how to mix in with the community and get the community engagement to accept the business and help the business grow, but also ensuring that the employees that we have in place are very knowledgeable about the products that we offer within our retail store.
Hi, I'm Wale Wong. This is my 5th year as a cannabis professional. I'm representative here of Meadow Software. We're the best retail point-of-sale system in the state. We're the only California-specific point-of-sale system in the state. We power over 200 retail operators inside California. To give you a sense, about a quarter of the gross sales in California run on Meadow. We have a huge amount of educational initiatives, both as a team. It's part of our core ethos. We do educational compliance, inventory, educational programming in Sacramento with the Cal Asia group, as well as with success centers in Oakland, and here locally with Los Angeles Department of Cannabis. So basically, what enables all this growth across all these great retailers is inventory workflows. The reality is in cannabis, there's only a few ways to receive and sell inventory. And because of the nature of the regulatory compliance and increasingly the audit space as we move forward, if the team doesn't have the understanding of how to move inventory compliantly through the system and execute a sale, you get audited. The CDTFA comes and knocks on your door and you're owed back tax bills. Thankfully, with Meadow, we are the only system with guardrails inside the system to provide, to make sure that the team, the front of the house team specifically, cannot execute non-compliant actions. Separate to that, I'm also the founder of the Working Group National Cannabis Social Equity Coalition. We provide policy advisement increasingly on the East Coast. We're the only equity coalition that's representative of equity operators and individuals. We really believe in being a voice in these spaces for the individual business owners as it goes forward and cannabis grows nationally. Really proud of that work, both at Meadow and with the working group. Excited to be here. Happy to entertain wonky discussions about inventory and compliance. That's what I talk about all day. So I'm happy to get into the weeds with that as we go forward. And thanks so much to Los Angeles Department of Cannabis. I can't stress this enough, how important an event this is, how important this year is. For those of you that are just entering the industry, a lot of these brands and retailers and everyone across the supply chain, you're looking at people that have been waiting upwards of 3 years to open their doors. And now we're here, up and down the supply chain, where we're seeing black and brown businesses open. Cannabis can transform communities. You really should know that. We're already getting the metrics around it. 22,000 kids in the state of California got after-school care because of cannabis taxes this past year. Those are 22,000 kids that would not have had after-school care. And on the list goes. So be supportive of the community. Be supportive of supporting black-owned and brown-owned business and regulated business, because it can really change the face of LA. And all of us up here really believe in that. So thank you, Tony, for having us.
Hi, everyone, again. My name is Johnny. Our association, the Cannabis Equity Retailer Association, was the founding organization when it came to LA Equity Retailers. I think we formed, the conversation started happening back in 2019, about a month or two after the city ran its application process, and we started seeing the intricacies and learning the challenges that these equity retailers were facing. So a group of us kind of came together, Jumani, myself, some of the other equity retailers in the LA community, and realized, one of the biggest issues when it comes to this industry is the small guys versus the larger operators. And so we united and created SARA. And so SARA's goal since day one has been to advocate on behalf of equity retailers throughout the city of Los Angeles. We don't do too much work at the state level. Our goal is really just to develop a robust Los Angeles cannabis ecosystem. And so, yes, we're equity retailers, but we also look at equity operators across the supply chains. Like, for example, Bull Family Farms is one example. LA Cannabis is another example. And we try to find ways to develop a robust network that we can benefit everyone. So it's not just strictly about the retailers, it's about endorsing and supporting equity operations throughout the cannabis ecosystem. And so, a lot of that just revolves around advocacy work. Some of our members are operational, others are nearly operational. And so we just look at both sides of the fence and see how we can always come together, whether it's through like tax reform or other initiatives or other like support channels that we can provide. So, over the past 2 years, we've seen a number of dispensaries come online. And to Wally's point, I think this is going to be a really good year for equity retailers within the city of Los Angeles. We anticipate a solid number coming online and that are getting their temporary approvals. And we'll be out there to serve the community, because in our opinion, the best solution to illicit operators and dealing with that market is providing more licensed markets out there. And that really doesn't take place unless temporary approvals are issued and the city and the state work aggressively toward that. And I'm not going to lie, early on it was pretty stagnant, but over the past year and a half, the city of Los Angeles has been working really aggressively to get numerous retailers online. And personally, we owe them a big thank you for the hard work and effort they put in. And we look forward to them continuing and working alongside them to support this ecosystem, build it, because on a final note, like when it comes to Los Angeles cannabis retail, it's just not the equity retailers. It also consists of the pre-ICOs, the existing operators that have kind of built this foundation from the get-go and have played a critical part into getting this to where it is today. And so with that being said, equity retail is not just social equity licenses. It's also existing operators that have been part of this community, that have developed the cannabis regulations within the city of Los Angeles and the state. And Sarah's role is just to continuously support our membership and support the state and the city and the constituents when it comes to a robust cannabis ecosystem throughout the city of Los Angeles. Thank you.
Thank you, Johnny. Great.
My name's Jumani Redway. I've been in the cannabis industry professionally since 2013. When I first got in the industry, this was back in the medical days. I was vice president of sales and marketing for one of the earliest cannabis vape companies in the space. So yeah, that was 2013. I'm coming up on 10 years in the game next year. My social equity journey kind of starts around 2018, 2017, when the program's being developed by the city. Fast forward to 2019, I start working in cultivation for Steezy. That's currently what I'm doing now. Love being at the farm, love working with the plants. We are people serving the plants that serve the people, so this is all about reciprocity. It's all about giving back. It's all about continuing to get better every day. There's a lot of great brands here. There's a lot of great people representing great brands. And as an industry, I want to see us continue to rise, continue to be more professional, continue to deliver great products, to continue to educate the masses on this wonderful, wonderful thing that we are blessed with here on this planet, and we get to use it every day. And regardless of, whether you choose to quote unquote, ingest it or get high from it or whatever, there's so many wonderful things about the plant that are non-psychoactive, and this is the future. And so it's a give it up for all of the panelists, because we had this event a couple years ago, and look at it now. So this is the model. This is what we're going to continue to do to get better every day. So thank you for your time, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you, Jumani. Thank you. I really do love personal stories because I want everybody in the audience to feel empowered. And sometimes you think, I can't do it, but you can. I totally believe that anything you want in this life, you can absolutely get. I believe in the laws of attraction. I believe in all of it. So I want the panelists really to talk about their personal stories. And I'm going to start with Johnny. Because when I first met Johnny, he was doing tech, software, and cannabis, organizing groups, and we work out at the Rose Bowl. And I said, how did you become an operator all of a sudden? And he's going to have a store very close to me. So that's really good. But Johnny, why don't you tell the audience what made you do the switch? Why an operator? Why the headache? What's it all about?
Yeah, great question. Thank you, Tony. So yeah, as Tony mentioned, my way into the license market was about in 2017, I think 2018. We started a tech platform with a couple co-founders that was focused on the raw material trade. So essentially, we were looking to become, called the Alibaba of cannabis. And throughout that journey, we learned a lot about the industry, the intricacies, the challenges these operators face. Started doing events where Tony and I met. Tony actually spoke at an event of ours in the past. And, throughout that journey, realized some of my previous actions qualified me for the social equity program. So when I found out I qualified for the social equity program, and then I noticed that my tech platform, the timing on it probably wasn't the best, in all honesty, I started looking around and I was like, hey, what can I do with my time and what opportunity was presented to me? And so essentially, that's kind of when I determined that I qualified for the system, qualified for the program, put in my verification paperwork, got approved, started working and identifying partners and who I can go upon this with. That's kind of actually when Tamika, who spoke earlier, and I first met, and we've known each other for 3-4 years now. She was part of the MSO that I was looking to partner with initially. And so I guess to kind of like answer your question about why I made that transition, and probably why we formed Sarah, which I might have addressed a little bit earlier. It's really a unique opportunity right now to give back to the community, number one. And number two, it's, I'll be honest, I didn't anticipate this level of intensity as an operator. Like from the outside, it looked way easier than it actually is. It's the licensing process. I mean, I see why consultants and attorneys charge what they charge. It's not a joke to go through. It's very robust, and you can't really mess around. Like, if you mess around, there's so much money on the line that the risk is so high. So connecting that all back to Sarah, that's, as someone who's going through this journey, these challenges firsthand, with our association, we understand what membership is dealing with, and we do our best to advocate for that when we talk to the city, and then when we work with other members, and we develop programs that can support, these license holders throughout the city of LA. So in closing, it's one hell of a personal journey. I was literally talking to a friend about it the other day. When Sarah first started, Jumani was there. We literally had a meeting at a friend's office that had security on the ground floor that wouldn't let anyone up unless they were on an approved list because everything was so hostile at the time with what was going on. It was a crazy experience. You basically felt like you're mafia or whatever. And then and here we are 3 years later, we're getting retailers online, the community's growing, there's equity brands coming to market. We're looking at ways that our equity retailers can support these equity brands. And something that we've seen up north that we want to kind of implement down south is a robust ecosystem of equity supporting equity. And so at the end of the day, like, that's what Sarah is. That's what Sarah's about. We just stay in our lane and we focus on equity. As equity retailers, we focus on the equity community.
Thank you, Johnny.
Sure.
I hear Wally Wong, you talk about the supply chain all day long.
Yes,
All day long.
I do.
And so for the audience, explain why that is so important, especially for a social equity operator.
Well, in cannabis, what we have is, because of regulatory statuses, we've got these things that exist and are not going anywhere. We have perishable product and limited marketing channels, okay? We have every product, majority, especially with flower being the high-selling product, there's an expiration date. Just think of it as milk, okay? You've got milk. But you can't advertise your milk on TV. You can't advertise. We're going to see if they're going to allow billboards. Right now, text marketing is a valid marketing channel, but that's a very active space. You can't do magazines. So you have all these things coming in online, and for the entire supply chain, everyone has to work together because the current tax structures are pretty intense. It's a game of margins, and it is the game of moving a lot of product. It is still volume-based. To make a lot of money, it is volume-based. Now, there's things that we can do in terms of, if we all have a lot of money, we can get together and become vertically operated, okay? We can be a multi-license holder. We can have a cultivation. Me, Johnny, and Bomani can have a cultivation, a distribution, and a retailer. But that's a high barrier to entry because of licensing costs. So we can work together, like Johnny's talking about, where the equity manufacturers, distribution, cultivation can work together to give kind terms back and forth. So what does that mean? If I've got a brand, I can provide a little bit more leeway to a retailer before they have to pay me back, so to help them get on their feet. Northern California has had a decent amount of success with it, but it's still very much, everything is still so much to be decided. So the supply chain, once again, to what I said earlier, there is only so many ways to buy and sell and move cannabis. And this is the nature of it, because it's a highly, highly regulated industry. Because of the audit exposure as well, which I brought up earlier, a lot of workarounds are increasingly becoming smaller and smaller to do. So that's not going to go anywhere. It's not going to go anywhere nationally. I'm going to stop. I'm not going to stop before I start talking about track and trace and all that stuff. And start talking about metric. But for anybody that's interested, I think that's to end on something. There is a lot of free resources, including what LADCR just launched, and I'm happy to be a part of, as well as broadly speaking. What's incredible about cannabis is there is no, by and large, certification programs. Anybody here, you can spend it on, the onus is on you. You can spend and educate yourself about inventory, about metric, about all these things, and be of high value to all of these people here, because there's a learning curve on it, and it's freely, widely accessible. If you told me years ago, even though I started selling drugs at 14, but if you told me I did not plan to be talking about this, no. If you told me that I would be this deep into it, that's what brings me back to it, because education, I see all the retailers across the space, all of them. I see their data, I see how they run, I know their hiring practices, I know everything about them because of the nature of what Meadow represents. And I can tell you, by and large, it's the teams that understand inventory that make the most money, period. That is how it works. That is how they run more efficiently and run leaner margins to sell more weed. That is the name of the game, and it always will be, yeah. Cannabis.
I know, your favorite subject. Carlos, people want to know where the money reside. They really want to know, if I'm going to get a job in cannabis, am I going to make some good pay? So talk about
Sure. Thank you for the question. So we have We are very transparent when we post our jobs. I always post every pay range for everything that someone is applying for. I would never want someone to come in and have an expectation and find out later that it's different. So everything on our job posts specifically say, this is the starting rate, it includes this, here's the benefits. For example, at Sweet Flower, our entry-level person starts at 16, but our other entry-level positions go up to $21.50. So if you came in as an inventory clerk, you know that that's your starting wage, that's where you're going to begin. We also, as a small employer and as a startup business, have done a pretty good job about putting together a good benefits package for everyone. So we offer full medical, dental, vision, life insurance, accident insurance, pet insurance, EAP programs, and a monthly discount of 50% for every employee up to $700. So we want to make sure that the people that work for us are incentivized to do that, can grow with us, and we want to focus very strongly on promoting from within, having people come in at any position and being able to work their way up. We do a lot of programs where people can spend time with us as the team who is there to be the leadership team. I always tell my stores that as their HR person, we're not there to be corporate. We're actually there to be the cannabis support center. So we are there to help them be successful, because if they can't make things happen in the store, it affects the entire company. So we are all one big unit. It's definitely something that is easy to get into without a ton of experience. You have to want to have that desire to learn the business, to educate people, and to grow within it. But there is a lot of opportunities within the industry. We are also looking at constantly changing and improving how we are paying our people. So we're in the middle of putting together referral programs, bonus programs, incentives for people to come in. We do competitions every month because healthy competition is good. So if you're the best salesperson, you get additional money for that. So there's always different things that we're promoting with our team and making sure that it's not just oh, I come in and clock in, do this, and go home. The one other thing I will tell you is the industry is very different. We've hired people from other retailers like 99-cent stores and Rite Aids and things like that, and they're used to that angry customer that comes in looking for something. Most people that come into a cannabis shop are pretty happy to be there. So it's a very different feel. We're not having these issues where we're dealing with angry customers. You're dealing with happy people that came in to see you. And to be very honest with you, I've been very impressed with it, but the tips that our team takes home are pretty good. People come in and they tip you if you give them great service and educate them. And if you are their florist who they're used to, they will take care of you. So it is something that you can also have control over how much you take home.
Great. Thank you, Carlos. So, Ms. Kindness, you are in health and wellness, and people believe that's the easier way to get into the cannabis industry. And so what do you say to that?
It's the broke way to enter the cannabis industry. I was like, oh, I'm going to give away all this IP for free because people need to know. This is how you heal your body using this plant that you're terrified to use because it's still federally illegal and you don't know anything about it. So is it the easiest way? I would say it's the most passion-centered way. And I entered because of passion, because I needed to heal my body. And then when I saw the holes, and I did more research, because there is no national certification program, and you do have to do your own research, and Google is awesome if you've never heard of it. And so when I started to do more research and figure out these are where the holes are, I started to match them with my skills. One of the main talks that I give to any groups around cannabis is about starting where you are. It's taking the skills that you have and applying them to this new budding industry, really. And so I was already an educator. I know how to write curriculum. That's just what I do, facilitate conversations. And I was fortunate enough to be able to enter without needing an income in the beginning. But navigational skills, finding the network that can support you, connecting with brilliant, smart people. I've known Jumani since 2013, followed his journey. He's always been a resource, asking questions, working with women employed in cannabis for the last 6 years, having access to all of those professional women, and finding where I could fit in. I would say that while education is the most needed thing, I think, in cannabis to help destigmatize and push the message forward and move forward with legalization, it is very challenging. There's a lot of misinformation. When I listen to people talk about cannabis, I'm very judgy, and I don't say things like entourage effect. I say molecular synergy. So it's constantly changing, and we have to stay ahead of the information and then find ways to monetize that IP. And that is the really challenging part about being in the wellness space. It's the reason I started creating products, quite frankly, because I was at that point determined not to go back to K through 12 education, but couldn't keep giving away my IP for free.
Right, right. Thank you. Dejanay, same question for you, since you're in the health and wellness space.
Whew. So one thing I left out of my intro and a little spiel about my background is when I was working at a dispensary, I was also working freelance with a lot of health and wellness influencers. And these were yoga practitioners, vegan chefs, people that have built really large platforms, and not just of people of color, but primarily women. So I'm having conversations. I'm going to these big, gigantic wellness retreats like Wellspring, put on by Wanderlust. That's a really huge yoga studio. And seeing no cannabis activations. But here we are in Palm Springs in these really nice hotels smoking on the balcony. And I'm talking to vegan influencers, and they're infusing their food, and they're not telling people that it is a wellness tool for them. And so I started just getting on podcasts. I started reviewing products on YouTube, which I would not recommend going to look at, but you can. It's Green Goddess Go on YouTube. And that was a really large part of how people started to recognize me and notice me in the community. And I've always been an advocate for making sure that people seen it as something that could be applied medicinally, and also just in a wellness regimen. Because to your point, Ms. Kindness, I don't like to say we're high. Our body is in a state of homeostasis. What is it? Yeah, what does it look like for us to feel balanced in our body, to feel present in our body? Most of the time, we're not. And so just understanding that it's a different state of being, it's a different perspective, and really working to shift that perspective in whatever way that I could. To your point, intellectual IP is so important. And a lot of time, I didn't want to go into these spaces and just talk people's ear off, right? And I'm like, what speaks to me? What is something that I'm passionate about? What's something that I love? People tell me all the time, Dejanay, you have such a soothing voice. And I'm like, do I? I'll take that. Or they'll tell me, you know, you have the best musical selection I've ever heard. Your range is incredible. And I'm like, I love sound. Like, I exist in music. And so finding instruments that work for me, I'm not a singer, but I'm always open and available and accessible to learn a new skill. So that took the form of sound healing. I learned how to play the Himalayan bowls, and then the gong found me. I did not go looking for it. It is a big instrument, all the overtones and undertones, and it is powerful. And so I am always at the altar of the music that I'm playing, and really facilitating spaces that allow us to use that alongside cannabis, and taking that opportunity to educate people. Like, I've had people be like, I've never felt that way in my body. And I'm like, that's the purpose. People cry, people do all kind of things. And I'm like, listen, just feel into that, because we don't always have spaces to do that. And another really big thing is like the reclamation of the plant. To your point, it's like I started growing it because I found a seed in a product at the dispensary I was working at. And then from there, it's been just an ongoing process of learning and really creating an intimate relationship with it. And that's really wellness, right? Understanding the interconnectivity between us and the plant. Like, we've been co-evolving with it for thousands and thousands of years. And each time we use it, each time we educate each other about it, we're breaking generational curses. And that's really what I want for people of color more than anything.
Thank you. So Candace, we're going to switch gears and talk about job seekers and people trying to get a job in the cannabis industry. What has been one of your biggest challenges in terms of hiring staff?
Realistic expectations. You know, cannabis, just with the stigma that it has, when people think of cannabis, they think of good time. They think of relaxing, just fun. They don't think of work. So, at the end of the day, we're running a business. Yes, we are providing these products to everybody. We're making them accessible to everybody, but we need people who are able to get the job done. So when we bring somebody in, their expectation is, oh, wait, I have to do that? I have to stand here for 8 hours? Or not stand here, but I have to work and do this for all day long? Like the plant just doesn't grow itself? It doesn't package itself? Like I have to do that too? So, really being realistic about it being an actual job. We definitely want to diversify our workforce, and we want our working environment to be a family-oriented environment. We treat our employees with respect. We have employee assistance programs. We offer great wages, but there's a line. We need to make sure that the individuals understand that there is still a job that needs to be performed. And our expectation is if we're bringing you in and we're offering you this training, we're developing you, we're assisting you, we're showing you X, Y, and Z to help you improve, that you take those skills and that you implement it in your day-to-day work activities. But realistic expectations is probably the biggest issue I've found within cultivation, retail, the sales teams within the cultivation. So.
Thank you, Candace. So, Jumani, we have some people in the audience that were so interested in cultivation. And so can you tell us a little bit about some of the jobs that are available in the cultivation space? I just know master grower. What else?
So in the cultivation space, we're dealing with the plant from its very genesis all the way through its end phase where it becomes an actual product. So all throughout the way, just like when you think of from birth, to your casket and your funeral, like all the stages you would have in between, all the different things that you'll do in your life, So we have a nursery, we call it a veg department. So in our veg department, in our nursery, if you will, we have plenty of employees there. We also have more specialized positions within that, people that are tending to the mother plants, the moms, if you will. Then we also have people that are dealing with people, or rather plants from the clone aspect of life, And so that's the nursery. We're getting the young plants ready for their next stage. So there's lots of different positions in there. Then you move into the nursery aspect till you go to kindergarten, first grade, right? You get out there in the world and you get your education. So you move on, out of that stage and into the flowering stage. And so there are different rooms associated oftentimes with the flowering stage. You need good cultivators who are, just like you said, willing to work hard and work smart when you're working with the plant, understand the plant, and then raise the plant. You're raising little babies, and by the time that you're done with them, they're mature adults that have lived a wonderful life, taking in all the sun and the nutrients, and now they're full and they're stretched out and they're bushy and they're just ready, to die because they want to move on with their life, right? I'm metaphor, but you know what I'm saying. And so from that, they leave the flowering room. They are chopped down, and it's a beautiful experience, because they get to release their THC, their CBD, and the other cannabinoids to the world. So from that stage, they move on into what's called harvest. And this is in particular my department. This is what I am responsible for at Steezy. The plants are chopped down. The plants are hung to dry. They're set in different, the proper conditions. And then we wait about a week to 2 weeks or so, and then we're ready to harvest them, and we're ready to actually make them into products, and we're ready to separate the cannabis buds from the branches, from the leaves, and from there it gets processed and trimmed, and we have a variety of cannabis products that arise just from that plant, from that one plant. You've got You've got the types of buds that you'll see in the magazines, you know, that are real beautiful and colorful. And then you'll also see, you know, stuff that looks like hay. But that stuff has a lot of the cannabinoids as well. And that stuff has a lot of value as well. And that gets produced into other cannabis products that you might consume thereafter, and so on and so forth. And so during that harvesting stage, there's a curing process. There are metric, the governmental regulators that are, you know, at the facility, or, you know, the existing agents within your facility. So you've got that aspect. You've got the trimmers themselves, who do wonderful, fantastic work at bringing the beauty of the plant together. And so all throughout that process, this is before we actually even get it out into, you know, the stores. But along those lines, it's a wide variety of positions that are assisting this plant, this mighty, beautiful plant, from its birth all the way into it ascends into your living room, bedroom, if you will. So, yes, that's the process. There are lots of jobs, and definitely go check out our booth and ask any questions that you have. Be happy to answer them.
I love the whole birthing thing. That was so much for me. I was like, really, Jumani, all of that? So, exactly. It is true. Do we have any questions from the audience? Yes. Our masked man.
I was asking if any resources. Hello, checking. Yo.
I'm going to turn it up for you.
Yo. Okay, my bad. My question is, are any other resources and energy that is put into cannabis, is there any way to convert that into industrial hemp?
Kindness?
Clarify the question. Do you mean like what's left? Like the extra materials, or?
No, separate, like CBD, industrial hemp, paper, plastic, that whole, you know, category. Is there any way to use the cannabis industry to further the hemp industry? Because I see it's like a separation. Like when we talk about cannabis, we don't include industrial hemp.
Well, I think, you know, for me, when I use the terminology cannabis, I am always thinking of the entire family, and that includes hemp. But you're right, there is a segregation in the space because of regulation, frankly. I will say that I perfected the pivot, right? I just stole that from Dijonay, because originally my thought was to be in THC. My original products that I made under Prop 215 before 64 were THC. But when regulation came and all of those costs accompanied that, you know, the panel has talked about, I made a choice to switch to CBD. But I absolutely am still supported by the cannabis industry. I require the same education. I have to be able to inform consumers about the differences between what is full spectrum, what is broad spectrum, what does it mean to be industrial hemp, how can you use parts of industrial hemp, can you smoke the flower from hemp, what is that, all of that. So it's supported by the industry in its entirety includes hemp, if I can say that. But the culture and the lifestyle of the different parts are different. You still need the support of the overall space. And now in California, we're seeing new regulation that is about to encompass hemp and our products, potentially beauty, ingestibles, and so forth. So we're about to enter a new space.
Thank you.
That non-compliant to compliant, see me afterwards, because that is a loaded question, my friend. And very difficult and probably impossible to do. But we can talk about that offline, definitely. Wally, you know that question's for you about metric. And if you all don't know what metrics is, it's the track and trace system that the state uses to track from seed to actual sale of the cannabis product. So that's what metric is. Absolutely mandatory, yes.
It is
good thing to keep in mind is like often the biggest misinformation around metric and for people entering the industry is they think it's a lot about RFID tags. That it's a serious because it's called track and trace that we're actually tracking. It's not. It's a ledger. It is a tool of auditing. It is not a tool to run your business on. So what do I mean by that? As Jumani was saying, and I want to make sure I'm saying your name correct. Jumani was saying, right? As cannabis is moving through the supply chain, what's each product is gets what's called a package tag. And as it moves through the supply chain from cultivation to manufacturing to distribution and ultimately to the retailer, these packages can be combined, they can be split, and then the sale is ultimately reported to the state. This is the thing about metric. It's open-ended. Goes back to the ledger metaphor. It doesn't warn you if you make mistakes. It doesn't provide you any sort of notification if a wrong action was done. It will allow wrong actions. It's not its job. Its job is to say, that Jumani sent me 50 or 132 grams, which is about 32 eighths, I believe, if I'm doing my math correctly, and I have to now sell the 32 eighths. Recognizes those two things. I can sell if a customer in one of these wonderful dispensaries, if the sales staff pulls from the wrong package and reports the wrong sale, it doesn't notify you. It will allow the sales staff to sell 40 out of that package, okay? There's no guardrails on any of it. And what's unfortunate and what we're seeing is what happens is for teams that don't have a lot of education regarding the inventory workflows is the CDTFA comes in, that's the tax authority of the state, and they go down the list and they see the ones that are in gross discrepancy, is it called? Because you are allowed what's called a variance, an amount of variance, which is the amount of mistakes you're allowed. But they can just go down and quickly read who's doing making big mistakes. So to give you like a real world example, this happened, the grand metric migration happened about COVID screwed up my timeline, so it's like 2 years now. So what happened is, what I'm dealing with right now, I'm switching over to a dispensary that's on a system with no system efficacy. Because this is the thing, often on our side of the space, the technology space, this is a big misnomer, is like people think that all these systems are created equally. They're not. This is new technology, just as this compliance systems is new technology as well. Meadow's the best, everyone knows it. We power a lot of teams. But that being said, when the teams are running other systems, I've got a team that run it now. I've got one in the Valley. It took us over a year to onboard them. They had a $80,000 tax bill because they were unaware that the system was not reporting correctly. I've got one that has over 18,000 packages unspoken for. So what does that mean? They've sold into 18,000. And that's a very small number of it, because a package can represent more product. They've sold all this product, it's out of their store, and they now have to deal with the CDTFA going, what happened with this product? What happened to it? I've seen doors shut around it. This is the good thing though, because I don't want to be scary. This is the good thing. Everybody here can educate themselves on it. If you're interested in being a job seeker and having a job in cannabis, it all goes back to compliance. And if you understand the supply chain, that instantly puts you to the top of the hiring because it's so the whole system, the whole supply chain is built around it. So there's a lot of free, like I said, LADCR that has done an incredible amount of information regarding it, as well as you can get on YouTube and look up metric education. A lot of it's out of Colorado, but the system remains the same, and the way it works remains the same. So, I hope that answers your question. And what's that?
Oh, Dejanay.
Yeah, I'll stop talking as well.
No, Dejanay wants to answer the question too.
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead. Yeah.
Oh, no, I'm sorry. I wanted to elaborate on the last question.
Oh,
My apologies.
Yeah, no,
I'm sorry.
I'm so sorry. I think my mic was turned down a little. To your point, sir, the question that you asked, cannabis companies can obviously offer those large cash infusions to hemp businesses. For example, Viola partnered with Gold Standard Farms, which was a farm out of Tennessee. I know earlier I mentioned reclamation, right, and breaking generational curses. This farm had been in this family for decades, for generations after generations, and they were trying to figure out what new product or what new crop they could or industry they could jump into without having to jump into cannabis fully. And even for me, I think about Arkansas. Arkansas is medically legal, but am I going to be able to convince my very traditional, very religious Christian family to grow cannabis? No, but they might be open to growing hemp at some point. So when you talk about hemp companies and sustainability and what we can do, this industry produces a lot of waste. So what does it look like to have hemp packaging? And then when we're talking about farms that exist, especially in Black and brown communities, how can we reintroduce cannabis or hemp as a talking point, as something that can create that generational wealth over time? Viola did a really great job partnering with Gold Standard Farms, which is a farm based in Tennessee, and initiating that conversation with him. So I wanted to offer that because I don't want you to walk away and be like, all we have is education, but that is a real life example of how hemp farms can come online, especially for communities of color.
For sure. Do we have any other questions? Sir.
Good afternoon. First of all, thank you, everyone here. Wally, what's up? How you guys doing? I watch a lot of webinars, so finally to see your faces in person. Wally, I see you. I've seen Stizzy. I've seen a few of you, so thank you. My name is Bobby Carrillas. I'm from the Bay Area. I came down here just for this. I wanted to.
Thank you. Thank you so
I've been
much.
I've been watching Tuesdays and Thursday nights, and so I want this in the Bay. I don't know why my city is not doing this. I don't know why Oakland is not doing this. I don't know why Vallejo's not doing this. So I'm going to start Canna Solano because of this. So
Thank you. Give Dr. Amani Brown all the love over there.
yeah. So if you're from the Bay, we got to talk, all right? So anyhow, to my question, inventory is huge. It is what I've seen a lot of the different POS systems that I've seen, from out-of-state POS systems to California POS systems. Meadows is a California POS system. I'm not going to put other names down, but I have tested FlowHub, I have tested Trees, and Meadows is built for California, and it is built for compliance. But there's still no unicorn software that can do seed to sale. I'm finding out that people in the cultivation side still have to just use metric, even though there are other technologies and software. So is Meadows ever going to plan to try to have a seed to sell? We're going to just focus on retail.
No, and this is a broader discussion regarding the challenges to verticalization in the space. This is where metric comes in once again. That's why you're seeing a lot of teams run directly, a lot of the scaled operators that are vertical run directly in metric, because metric goes down. There's been outages anywhere from 5 to 10 minutes to 2 hours over these past 3 weeks. Right. When you're up the supply chain, you can't do business when metric's down. You can't push packages, basically. You can't do any splitting, you can't do any combining. That's just the nature of it, and that's why it's, so often. There are some good solutions out there. The Trim team's a wonderful team, as well as Distru. They do their best that they can, but I think that's the biggest challenge in the space for all teams, is there's a want of this verticalization, right? Like we push a button and it pushes all. It's never going to happen because it's a regulated supply chain. So that's we're not going up. We're not going to go up the supply chain. We like where we're at, and yeah.
So with that being said, there's always going to be two. You're going to have, if you're fully vertical, you're going to need to deal with two systems.
Yeah, 100%, and I think you just embrace it as a team. I work some of the biggest teams that are vertical. They do and for those teams that are coming from outside, I met a lot of people today that are coming from outside cannabis that in a lot of different capacities. That's where the SOPs come in. That is where creating real
Standard
SOP.
operating procedures.
Yeah.
Quit using these terms of
Yeah,
art.
standard operating procedures. This is where, because this is the thing, and not to start doing the whole thing, but I'll say this, is the core concept that you have to realize that any movement of cannabis happens in three places. It happens in the real world, it happens in metric, and it happens in a system to manage the internal system. Now, whether that system, that last one is Meadow, whether it is a Google Sheet, whether it's something, these three things have to remain in unison. And that is why the challenge, that's really the challenge, is to keep these things happening in unison because of the technological, this disparity with metric, et cetera, et cetera. But I don't want to blah, blah, blah too much.
No, thank you, Wally. Thank you.
Thank
you, everyone on the panel.
Thank you for coming down, too.
Yes.
We really appreciate it. We have a question from this gentleman over here.
Hi, my name is Yassam Muhammad. I've been growing for about 2-3 years now. I'm getting new into this industry. I'm 21. And my question for you guys today is, like, for me to go home today, I've learned a lot today. And what would you guys suggest I go home and research if I want to start, like, cultivating and, like, moving product out and getting to other people and stuff like that? That would be very useful.
Jamani, in a regulated industry,
There's people here for you to talk to who are professionally in the cultivation space. And so if, for whatever it is, whether it's cannabis or anything, if there's something that you want to identify with people who are already doing it, who can actually speak from experience about, what they need to, about whatever it is that you're interested in. So there's plenty of people here. There's my company. There's Ball Family Farms. There's wonderful companies out here doing wonderful work. And so take your pick, talk to us all, and keep going, brother. Keep going. If cultivation is what you're interested in, then be passionate about it, be intelligent about it, and just dive straight into it, and you're in the right place.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. Any last questions? Oh, did you know? I'm sorry.
Hello, is my mic on? Okay, I was gonna say, please check out the Harrington Institute booth. We do have cultivation courses, processing, the different type of methods, and one of the great things that Jumani mentioned, was like having a community. And one of the things that a classroom setting offers is community. So then you're able to say, hey, this is how I do this. How do you do this? And then just expanding that network. That's how I got in the position that I was in. I started as a bud tender, and now I'm able to go back and give jobs to the people that I worked with who got me into the industry. So many people talk about networking up, but really learn how to network across and really build with people, because the people that when you're starting out is going to be the same people that years and years and years of being in this industry. So do it. Invest in yourself, get the education if you feel like that's necessary. I know I'm doing it. I'm putting myself through school right now, even though I'm in a corporate environment and I work for a company. It's invest in yourself and do as much as you can to be able to hold these conversations and bring something new and identify where there's holes in this industry, because there absolutely are. We haven't even gotten past federal legalization yet. So can you imagine what that looks like, being able to have your skill set? So keep investing in yourself.
Thank you so much.
Buy a cultivation book on Amazon if you haven't bought one already, and read it cover to cover and know as much as you can.
All right. Appreciate the information. Appreciate you guys. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone. And let's give a round of applause to our panel. They did an excellent job. I want to acknowledge the commitment from the Community College District. We have a trustee here today, David Vila. David, would you please stand up? Thank you so much for attending. So at this time, you can talk to people. We have Dale coming up from Oaksterdam to give us some additional information.
Can we get some love for Miss Tony Forge? That's right. Hell yeah, you're running the stage all day. Thank you. Keep it going for Miss Connie Sparks for putting this on for us. And last and certainly not least, Dr. Brown. Where is she? In the front. In the front. There she is. Thank you for being here. Good afternoon. Oh, see, I can't hear you. Good afternoon. Ah, I knew you had it in you. All right, I am here for three very important things. We, number one, need to keep this party started, keep this party going. You know, 3:30 came early on the flight today. We're going to keep this party going for the next week so we can continue career connections. So many folks have yet to find each other. There are more jobs to be found. There are more seekers to be found. So please make sure you all got one of these little QR codes on your pamphlet. Scan it, register so you can continue. This is a virtual career fair for the rest of the week. So I want to make sure that you keep this party going. Yes? I can't hear you. Okay, number two, the Business Licensing and Compliance Program has kicked off some amazing services. We are talking about everything from a full learning management system through legal services and, importantly, employer coaching. Employers, you have full-blown HR, workforce development services. You just go straight to the back there and you can get your coaching. Number three, this is for everyone. We have good faith hiring requirements in the great city of Los Angeles. We've finally put our laws where our hearts are, which is we need to hire transitional workers, we need to hire social equity workers, and importantly for all of us, we need to hire local, yeah? You don't want to drive across this beautiful city no matter how much you love it, right? So depending on what kind of license you are applying to or what kind of license you have started, local might mean 3 miles, it might mean a 5-mile radius, but you have to report how many of your workers are 3 or 5 miles away. And what we've done, I'm holding this up because it's a friendly QR code you can scan in on, and report how many transitional, social equity, and local workers you have. If you work for someone, please make sure they understand that we are starting to collect this reporting. Importantly, we're here to help you understand what you have to report on. What is this anyway? So let us walk you through identifying the workers that you already have, as well as the workers that you need to find. And so again, please make sure you register for virtual workforce development. That is to keep the party going. Make sure if you are an employer or if you are an employee of any licensed facility in the city of LA, this reporting is for you. And if you need help figuring it out, we're right there at the back to walk you through how to report, all right? We've got the survey on a QR code right here. We have how to get help, and we have how to register. So please stay tuned for more. Dr. Brown and her amazing team are coming out with more and more with subject matter experts. We have webinars. Go to cannabis.lacity.org to make sure you get that schedule, download it, and find these amazing resources for both job seekers and employers in the great city of LA. I am Dale Sky Jones, blessed to be here today. I am grateful to be a vendor along with my co-vendors to try to bring you these services. And on behalf of Wade Co., we have a giveaway. Please help me welcome Miss Deja Roof to give you some cool stuff. Come on up, Deja. Woo!
Thank you, Dale. Okay, y'all, if you guys don't know me, my name is Deja. I work at Wade Co. Business Center. Helped put this amazing event together. Shout out to DCR. I do have a bunch of giveaways to give out. So if you guys haven't gotten a raffle ticket, please come up. Yeah. Again, if you guys haven't gotten a raffle ticket, come up to the stage. I'll give you one before I do this raffle. And there's a lot of you. Woo. How is she gonna play music? I'm doing the raffle. Okay, everyone, so we're gonna go ahead and start the raffle. First gift card is a $40 grocery gift card. Right? Okay, so the number is 816-0479. Yay! Woo! Congratulations. Right. Okay, next up we have another $40 grocery gift card. (816-0457). Woo! Yes. Is this Hemp Alliance? Yes. Okay, this next one is a $60 grocery gift card. It's only gonna go up, guys. 60, 100. We got some Nicky Jam tickets too. So this one's for the $60 grocery gift card. 816-0481. 0481. Okay. You want something else too? Oh. Okay. Next up, we have another $60 gift card. Grocery gift card. The number is 816-0465. 0465. Going once. Going twice. Nope. Okay, next ticket. Next ticket is 0445. 0445. Oh, right here? Yes, she just won a $60 gift card. Okay, next up we have a $100 grocery gift card. $100. (0454). 0454. Going once. Going twice. Okay. Oh, I see you in the back. 0454. Okay, she's running up. $100 gift card. Woo! We've been collecting tickets all day. Okay, this is the last grocery gift card. It's for $100, and then we're going to get into the Nicky Jam tickets. Okay, 0467. 0467. Right here? Okay, $100 grocery gift card. You're welcome. Okay, so how many of you know who Nicky Jam is? Okay. So he's going to be in Ontario tonight. Oh, tonight at 8 p.m. So if you guys are available, right, got to go rush home. Right. No, you guys, make sure you guys stay until 2 p.m., okay? Stay until 2 p.m., but then definitely go rush home. It's in Ontario. It is tonight. I have 4 pairs. Okay, ticket number 0469. 0469. Going once. Going twice. Okay, next ticket. 0478. Yes? Woo! Like I said, you got to stay till 2. There you go. Okay, next pair going to 0473. 0473. Going once. Okay. Nicky Jam tickets for tonight. Okay, 2 more pairs of tickets. Damn. 0442. 0442. Going once. Going twice. Okay, new ticket. 0453. 0453. Oh, in the back. Okay, Nicky Jam tickets for tonight. I hear you in the back, Kristen. Okay, no problem. Yeah, thank you. Okay, last pair, guys. Last pair. Zero 0450. 0450. Oh, Nicky Jam. Okay. Look, you were talking like we had a whole conversation. Okay, everyone, definitely stick around. We have more gift cards to raffle off. We have 1 more pair of Nicky Jam tickets. We also have, I think, an air fryer to raffle off, so make sure you guys stay until 2 p.m. Cue music. Try like the registration, like they're all in the registration. Like you're talking about the volunteers? Oh. Good luck. Find her. Snacks? Okay, everyone, we do have a snack area in the back. It's a LATTC tent. We got granola bars, waters. So make sure you guys go check out the booth.